All right, it's Pop Culture Pile Driver. I am Jason Rossi. You can find me on Twitter at Jason D Rossi. And with me, as always, is my tag team partner in the podcast and streaming sphere. He is at Billy D2411. His name's Billy D. What you eating?
I'm eating the double cheeseburger meal from McDonald's. So you'll see me mute from time to time when Rossi goes on one of his cold takes of the NXT Women's Division not being good.
I know. First of all, I never said it wasn't good. It's just not anywhere near where it's been, and I'm 100% victim. 100% right after you watching a card like this tonight. Thought we can run through the card, but I thought the opening 6-woman tag fine. It was there. It was cool. I thought this González, I forgot her name, Raquel González. I thought she looked like a superstar. But everybody else, I don't know. The NXT Women's Division is just okay. I think NXT right now is just okay, and I think that's okay to admit. I think, events like tonight put that big shine back on NXT, but I just feel like the momentum of NXT just isn't where it was. Most of their stars don't feel like the superstars they were like a year ago, 2 years ago, when some of these guys were like the biggest and baddest names, from Velveteen Dream, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, even Adam Cole. They just feel a little bit, I don't know, just a little tear down.
No, I 100% agree. The longer they go on in that area and not get moved up. I mean, we saw recently the Bro get moved up to SmackDown.
Yep.
Which is great, but it's really tough for these guys to make an impact down there when they've been down there so long. That's why I think it is nice when you get like a Finn Bálor or a Charlotte Flair, which I think really invigorated that women's division, because it does give it that main event we just saw. I thought was phenomenal, and I love the ending.
Yeah, we'll get to. I didn't love the ending. I don't know. Everything just felt a little lackluster. I will say the 3 women in the match, my God, if they put that match on for another 10 minutes, which I thought it was going to be, and I wouldn't have been mad at all. I felt like they left time on the table. I felt like they left money on the table. I thought it was a really excellent match, and almost wanted to see it get to that third gear, and I don't think it got there. But that's just my takeaway. Obviously, if you're joining us now, Io Shirai is now officially your NXT Women's Champion. Didn't see it coming. Sitting there with my wife while watching.
I didn't at all.
Yes, my wife's like, I kind of saw her winning. I thought it would be Charlotte Flair. I just think, I think at the end of the day, we have to put everything into perspective. And number one perspective with this would be that this pandemic, COVID, is with the empty arenas, has really put a damper on a lot of the plans I think they had in place. Like, I think Charlotte Flair right now as NXT Women's Champion with crowds would be a whole different story. That's, besides the point. But I thought that overall that they put on a great match. We'll go through the card to see what was match of the night. Obviously, it's a raw, really, knee-jerk live reaction. So there's a lot to be said. But first and foremost, seeing Todd Pettengill, if that didn't just put a
that was great. That was the best way you could have possibly started the night. I love how they did the retro thing. Still looks pretty good. Handsome dude still. Looks great. And how old is I don't know how old he is. He's got to be in his late 50s, if not 60.
Right? I would say he's younger. I'm guessing if it was 1995,
I was a kid.
I know, but I'm like 25. I'm saying he was 25, 24, 25 at that time. So, so that would make him like 50 now.
All right, let's see. Hang on.
I bet you he could have even been younger. I wouldn't be surprised if he's under 50 right now, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he's 53.
All right, he's 54. Fair enough.
So think about it, 25 years ago. So he's 29 years old. So I just love to see Todd Pettengill. Hasn't missed a beat. I thought that was really, really fun for them to do. I loved the William Regal monologue. The following is brought to you by, and then they did the Good Humor commercials. Reminded me a lot of, Lord.
They did a Nike Pro commercial with Adam Cole.
That stuff's great. Like NXT, this event got it. Whatever it is, most of the time that wrestling fans, especially in the 2020, stuck at home, watching crowdless events, that's what you need to do. Give us a little retro, make it fun. I thought that's the one thing I would take away, regardless of the action of this event. They made this event a lot of fun, especially the set. I loved it. I love seeing the old style, even like the old Jumbotron look in between the windows. I thought that was I was very pleased to start this event with that.
Retro was in. I did like the fans there. That made to me a huge difference. That was giant in the presentation of the show, because you do. I picked up with the Job and Archer crew just before, probably in the middle of the second to last match. We started watching together on a Zoom. I didn't even know they were on it. I've been monitoring my free agent bids in my fantasy league. Not even my fantasy league, in my franchise Madden league, like a hawk, making sure nobody outbids me. But then I jumped in there. It was a lot of fun, but before, the only way I could watch one of these things and really be into it is if I was watching it on a Zoom.
Sure.
Like WrestleMania was saved for me by watching it on a Zoom. Having that crowd there, I had it on in the over my shoulder the whole time when I was doing stuff, and then I was watching. It made a difference to have a crowd. It really did.
Oh, without a doubt. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's the one thing that, especially the way that they've done it. Like if you've been watching SmackDown, you've been watching Raw, you've been watching NXT, they've been doing this. But today, just the presentation looked different because it didn't look like you just saw the spattering of people. Like they separated them on the sides. You really didn't see them. You just heard them, which was great. I thought that was a nice touch. And again, I thought the set looked good. I thought the presentation of this event from top to bottom was excellent. And I liked what they did, and we'll get to it. I liked the presentation of the NXT Championship Backlot Brawl. I thought it was great.
Backcracker in here shutting up. I just shutted out the Barf League. That's our fantasy league. But
what does that stand for? Do we know it? Is it?
I think it's Barfly Football League or something like that.
Barfly. What's the A? Anyways, all right. So I don't care as much, but cool. I'm glad. Listen, it's a lot of fun. Whatever you do for fun, spread it. And nothing but if you're having fun, that's a good thing. Could be doing drugs or McDonald's. No, here's the real question, Bill. While you're eating this McDonald's, people watching, what did you order? This is very important.
I ordered the 2 cheeseburger meal. I think I can easily do the challenge, whatever the challenge was.
Bill, you dominate the challenge. I've seen you eat half of Papa John's pizza, but by the time it took me to walk down a hallway, and a very small hallway, by the way,
and a whole sub,
Don't forget that. Some doofus there. All right, so. Got to go with the 2 cheeseburger. Everyone's loving the 2 cheeseburger call, Bill. Can't go wrong. So I think we just started at the top again where we came from. So we got Todd Pettingill. You got actually a pretty fun pre-show. For anybody who watched that with Scott Stanford now doing it because Charlie Caruso.
What is up with Sam Roberts' hair? What the fuck was up with that?
Honestly, that's a good question.
Terrible.
Not only is it receding, it's going up in the back. Like it is. Mm-hmm. It is a very odd look. He's a very odd looking man, I guess, distinct in his own way. And you got a spattering of Pat McAfee in there as well. I don't know. I was entertained for a half hour. I like pre-shows that are half hour and there's no matches. It was just hype for the event.
No, I enjoyed the 5 minutes of ish I saw. I do like Sam Roberts. I think he is an entertaining guy. Yeah. I'm really glad they went out and got those personalities who were outside of wrestling and kind of brought them in for these things. Yeah, because I think it does add an interesting perspective. But they're going to be reined in a little bit by WWE, obviously. But they add a little bit more than I think just like Booker T would.
I agree, and I've actually really liked Booker T recently on Backstage, but I like it because it seems like when they're making their picks, and obviously I don't think they don't know. They're literally going off of what is either strategic or what's going on in storyline. I like that kind of balance. I think it brings a little more of the sports into the sports entertainment world. But yeah, the pre-show was nice. We get the Todd Pettingill introduction. Then we get right into it. It is a 6-woman tag team match with Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Nox taking on Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel González. My favorite thing about Raquel González, Bill, she doesn't have her own Wikipedia. There's something special about that in the 2020.
I mean, I really liked this match from the standpoint of there were a lot of women in this match that I enjoy. But, I mean, it wasn't a phenomenally wrestled match. It was, like you said, it was okay. It was fine. It's not how I want to kick off the night. If you're not going to put Adam Cole in the main event with the Velveteen Dream, kick off the whole night with it. Because other than that, and I am a true believer in it, and I've learned this from listening to Nestle. You want your strongest wrestled match that's not a main event match to lead off the night to kind of set the tone. And this didn't set the tone that I wanted for the whole night.
I'll agree and disagree with the take of it. I don't think you need your strongest wrestled match. I think you just need something that's going to really get the crowd hot. Like you need something that's like a spectacle. And I think that's what they thought this was. And at the end of the day, with no live crowd, it's all up in the air. I think the placement of the Velveteen Dream Adam Cole match, which we'll get to, I thought about when it first started, I'm like, what are they doing? Then I think about it's a good way to break up the in-ring, like to put that there. Yeah. But I still think you always end with your main championship match. But won't complain. We'll get there. But I thought this match was fine. I'm still.
I mean, you can argue that Charlotte Flair is the main championship anyway right now.
She should be, and I'm not disagreeing. We'll get there. But this match didn't do much for me. The 6-woman tag match. I'm not big on Candice LeRae as a heel. Her and Johnny Gargano, I just think are like your ultimate baby face, like white meat baby faces. But obviously, I'm interested. I'm watching. I'm very entertained by the stuff they were doing with like the table for 3, but dinner with Garganos. I really, really like like I said, Raquel González, there's something there. I know that they gave shout outs to her, like looking like China tonight. A couple of, I said the ninth wonder of the world. I like that. I was into Mia Yim as well tonight, who I do like. I'm not like over the top with her, but I thought overall, like I was entertained, and they kept it short. It was 10 minutes. No one gets hurt. Everyone gets out. Everyone gets their shots in there, and the faces went over.
See, the problem is every time I've seen Mia Yim wrestle on an independent circuit level or like against a man, she is phenomenal. I don't know like if she needs another level, but they don't seem to go with her as strong on this level. I don't see her performing where I've seen her before. Dude, she wrestled Keith Lee in a bunch of matches before she got here. And they're like, I mean, obviously you're wrestling with Keith Lee, who's going to bring you up a little, but she was unreal in those matches, and I just don't feel like it translates as well here as it did in those, indie circuits.
Would you maybe argue that the women's division isn't as good? Maybe she needs like her versus Charlotte Flair would be awesome. She needs she might be that performer that's a level above the women she's in the ring with. No, I think somebody like Dakota, Kai, Tegan Nox have that ability. I'm not here to listen. If these women were in front of me, of course, I'm not criticizing their wrestling skill. I just don't think this division has what it had in the past, and it has to go through a rebuilding. And I understand that. I think right now we're just in that midpoint.
I think that Tegan Nox is really good. I even think Candice LeRae is really good. But I get what you're saying from that standpoint. But I think the top of their division is excellent, especially right now.
Well, it was. I still don't consider Charlotte Flair actually an NXT performer, but that's besides the point. So then we get into Finn Balor versus Damian Priest in a match that I'll be honest, going in, I thought this would be later in the card. I thought it was going to be like that in between the main event match, and I was pleasantly surprised with this match. I'm obviously a big Finn Balor guy. I really like what Damian Priest brings to the table from this standpoint. His look, he has a distinct look, which you don't get a lot of right now. Honestly, like look at this card. It's just a bunch of dudes. Like I don't mean that in a bad way, but they don't have that like look to them. This guy has the look, he has the feel, and I love the use of the razor's edge. I don't know what it is. He's like 6'4". He's got to be up there, and he just that wingspan using the razor's edge. I love that. I actually really enjoyed this match. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, and depending on how great you thought it was, I just thought that was a really good match.
No, I thought it was entertaining. I mean, I always am a Finn Balor. Meh. He doesn't bring it to every single match. He did in this one. He looks phenomenal as always.
Oh my God, his 8-pack has like a turn in it. I think it rotates throughout the match.
Yeah, I'm not getting anywhere near that with my 2 cheeseburger meal, and I'm still hungry, so I'm probably gonna have some Ritz crackers after this too.
You're like my wife. How do you do this? Like I looked at your 2 cheeseburgers and I gained 2 pounds, and you're over there the metabolism of a 20-year-old angel.
No. I will go up 6 pounds just from this meal tonight, and I've been drinking some IPAs too because
holla.
Some people say why. I say why not.
It's Sunday night.
Yeah. I mean, I have to work tomorrow anyways, but who cares? I think Damian Priest does have that look you were talking about, and they said he lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, which I'm definitely going to go look because he was Punishment Martinez in the past, and I remember seeing some of his matches.
He wasn't that big.
I don't remember, but it could just be one of those things.
100 pounds is ridiculous.
It's a lot of weight. Like someone that has lost significant weight in the past and like varies, 100 pounds, like that doesn't just happen. That takes years.
So Keith Lee, to put it in perspective, is about like, I think, maybe tipping 3 bills. I don't even know if he is.
Oh, yeah.
Damian Priest is 6'5", 249. So that means at one point he was around the area of 6'5", 350 pounds.
God.
So that is impressive on its own. I don't know where you're going with this. It is odd, though, when you bring a guy down who was the first ever Universal Champion.
Yep.
And then he's like, he can't. It's kind of like the Charlotte Flair thing, even though she did lose tonight. It's like, where are you going with these guys down here? Because it's now, Damian Priest put on a pretty good match, but now where's he going from there? Yeah,
the loss, the Finn Balor win was very suspect to me, especially where this was one of those whodunit feuds. So the little backstory: Finn Balor was about to face Velveteen Dream in a Billy Wet Dream match, but instead he was attacked, and nobody knew who did it for like 2 weeks. And then it was Damian Priest. I thought Damian Priest needed a victory like this. I guess maybe just looking at the card, they said we need a couple faces to go over here. I don't know, even though it did balance out at the end, but I don't know. I was a little suspect on it. Obviously, Finn Balor may be the next guy to challenge Adam Cole. Maybe we'll finally get that match, depending where they're going with, obviously, a couple of more results that we'll dive into next. I'm trying to see where this thing's all heading. But I thought we could argue maybe the match tonight was the main event, but I think Keith Lee and Johnny Gargano, the clash of styles. I thought Johnny TakeOver was at it again. I think Keith Lee, like, I don't say this too often. At least I don't think so. If anything, I say things that piss people off and make them want to jump down my throat.
You gonna go hyperbilly right here?
I'm sure. I think Keith Lee is the next big thing. I do. I know it's been around some Survivor Series, people were saying it, but watching him in a match against a guy like Johnny Gargano, he's been in great match against Dominic Dijakovic. And by the way, if you listen to the podcast, I apologize for how many times I butchered that name. I've seen him in matches, with Roderick Strong, who I think is another superstar.
Unbelievable.
But
king of the backbreaker.
Watching him versus Johnny Gargano, and Johnny Gargano is another one of those guys could wrestle a mop. It was something with how big he was, like the two different styles, and he just comes across, got so much charisma. He just has the look, his moves, he's powerful, and he's just smooth in the ring. There was something just really special what I watched in this match tonight, and could have been a main event in another, if this was for the NXT championship, and I thought it would have been pulled off well. I really liked Keith Lee. I thought this match was fantastic. Again, the involvement of Candice LeRae and Mia Yim kind of took away from me just a little bit, but I thought overall this was an excellent match.
So if you were to tell me this match on paper, I don't know, even like right as Keith Lee debuted, I'd be like, this is going to be a phenomenal barn burner of a match. And it was, but the problem is what we kind of discussed before. How long has Johnny Gargano been down in NXT now? 4 years?
Easily. Because he was
maybe 5?
It's not 5 because WrestleMania 2033 was in Orlando, and he was part of that takeover, and that would have been 3 years ago. So at least three plus years. Yeah, 3+ years.
And he was in a tag team for a while, but I kind of feel like he's been down there forever, and maybe it's just this whole quarantine that's making me feel it's even longer. Now I even feel like Keith Lee's been down there for a pretty long time, and he's probably only pushing 2 years.
Yeah, if that, honestly, Keith Lee's, I think, just hitting his stride. So I think I'm okay with it. And the thing is, the down there, and I know they're trying to build NXT as a third brand, but I think right now, especially what we talk about in this quarantined, in this crowdless time, NXT just looks less than. And more than they did even before. Like, they obviously looked a little like being just at Full Sail. Like, they being in the same place that Raw and SmackDown are, the presentation is tough, especially, and I know I've mentioned this a million times, when they're up against on live television, an AEW product that is outdoors and just looks phenomenal. It's tough, but I do agree. I think Johnny Gargano, it's because I don't know what they're doing anymore with NXT. Like, call-ups aren't call-ups. Like, Matt Riddle being pulled to SmackDown, I think says more about SmackDown and Matt Riddle than it does about NXT. It's not like he was done there. He's never held a championship outside of the tag team. So there was work to be done. I think they're just trying to pull, because I think he has that same superstardom that I think Keith Lee has.
And that's the only thing I worry about. I think Vince high on him? I've heard he is high on him because obviously he gave him the big moment in the Royal Rumble. He gave him the big moment in Survivor Series. But I feel like he has that glass ceiling of being a heavy guy that I don't know if he'll ever overcome. And I love him. I think he is a breakout star. I said it at the Royal Rumble. Like, he should win it because if you showed the Royal Rumble, and that's something that a lot of people will watch, Anthony, our buddy, came over and watched that with us along with Kevin before the whole,
I was going to say, this is pre-quarantine, everybody.
This was pre-quarantine because it was in January. But when they saw him, they were like, oh, wow. Like, this guy is something special. And I still don't know if WWE holds that high. Even the same thing with Johnny Gargano because he's so undersized. But these are the two kind of guys who I think if you gave a legit shot, and as much as I think Braun Strowman does have the crowd, to me, these guys possess more of that Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, innate ability to just captivate a crowd, and I don't think they're still embracing that at the main level.
No,
and
I
that's
agree.
my main problem with this, and that's why I think these kind of guys stick down there for so long, and you see Matt Riddle get a call-up where I argue, I love Matt Riddle. He's awesome. But, any one of those, Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano or Keith Lee could have got the call-up as well, but it was the guy who's the kind of prototypical superstar gets the call-up.
Yeah, I think, again, we don't know how this works. You can read all the dirt sheet reports all you want. You can hear this, that, or the other thing. At the end of the day, I think that what they said with Matt Riddle is, yeah, we could keep him in NXT for another year, but why? Let's just shoot him up there. Let's go. Like, we have these plans maybe with the Keith Lee, with a Tommaso Ciampa, with a Karrion Kross. We have so many guys there. Let's give this guy an opportunity in that next stage. I think for also where they're trying to sell NXT is like a watchable show, trying to gain ratings up against a war against a budding company. It is a peculiar position they're in because they have to keep a lot of these guys on that program. See, I think what you brought up without even really saying it, it would be nice to see a flush of talent. Like, I don't know, like guys that are just kind of there on SmackDown or Raw, maybe give them a couple NXT matches, like what they used to do. Like Zack Ryder was always that example. Like before there was the Hype Bros, he was just down there every so often in a match. Jinder Mahal was doing it. There was somebody else that just slipped my mind that was doing matches on NXT as well as the main roster. And it was like, okay. And he was being like punching bags, whereas now people call them jobbers. Like it's just such an interesting concept where they're at right now. But I thought overall, again, going back to this match, I love the story. I like Gargano. By the way, you could tell his wife must have brought the key to put in his pants. Cause you imagine ever wrestling with anything sharp in your underwear basically in your underwear. Imagine that. Imagine the cuts.
They said that guys did keep like razor blades taped in their wrist and like shit in their mouth, like under their tongue.
Oh, those, yeah. That
like, I can see having a key in your junk. That might be okay.
I don't know. He was getting a lot of like when there was a lot of abdominal squeezes around there with Keith Lee trying to like power bomb and stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't do that. I'd rather have a razor blade in my mouth than a key in my underwear if I'm going to be in a physical.
You ever get a pair of Jordan shorts?
Jordan shorts?
Yeah.
Oh, the way you're talking about the little pocket in there? Yeah.
I had one of those.
I had one up, or was it one up? What was it? And one. I had and ones. I don't think I could spring for the Jordans unless it was the AJ Wright knockoff version. But yeah, so Keith Lee retained his best looking, still to this day, I don't care what anybody says, fight me, the best looking championship in wrestling right now, the North American Championship. That is a beauty.
I mean, do you like the Intercontinental Championship? I personally hate it.
I don't like the new one. I like the other one with the white strap. A lot of people didn't like that. Like online.
I mean, that to me was the best belt in wrestling until the North American Championship one is really nice.
It's so nice. It is beautiful. A beautiful belt. All right, then we got into the NXT Championship and a last chance backlot brawl. Adam Cole, baby, taking on the Velveteen Dream. First, the introductions. Adam Cole coming out looking like a superstar's superstar and like almost what looked like a stretch limo on, big wheels, rolling on 18s. And I'm not talking about 18 inches. I'm talking about 18 footers. That was just a badass looking car. I really like the use of this. I love the introduction. I just really love this match. I think it was smart. In the beginning, when I saw the placement, I was like, okay. When I saw the placement, let me see what you thought on it. For me, it was they actually didn't think this match was that good because obviously it was pre-taped. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into Mauro Ranallo's absolute destruction of commentary for a few seconds. But they either thought this wasn't that good or they really had faith in the following two matches. So I don't know. I guess looking back on it, I don't think they thought this lived up to be the final match of the card. And I think they wanted to mix it up to give you something a little different looking. Velveteen Dream coming out as Negan. Cool. But I don't know, 4 years too late.
I always liked his creativity, and maybe this was a swing and a miss, pun intended. But
Lucille,
I really feel like this match missed off the mark just a little bit for me, and the fact that Velveteen Dream didn't win it. It's like, where are we going with his character? He has to be called up now because he's not ever going to get a shot. I mean, I know it's a wrestling thing. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't.
It's only while Adam Cole's champion, just so you know. So there's a huge caveat.
Yes. I mean, fair point, actually. I forgot about that stipulation. In my mind, it was just he's never getting a shot at the
because that's the way it usually goes.
Yeah. But even still, to me, taking that shot to Velveteen Dream, who I feel has, if you're going to do ceilings on these guys, has the highest ceiling of pretty much any NXT superstar just from his creativity and the way he is. Nessel, friend of the podcast, Jabberknocker, take a drink. He said that he was, sloppy and dangerous. I totally agree. He's a little sloppy. I don't think I've ever seen him be dangerous. I think he's a phenomenal talent in the ring. I think he has some Seth Rollins-ish tendencies where he doesn't finish every move. He doesn't go hard into the corners all the time. And like move to move, he's not crisp. He's not that hitman type of wrestler.
Come on.
He can be, but he just doesn't do it. This one, to me, having Cole still be the champion, I mean, he is the guy, I guess, but I thought this was going to be the Dream's moment, but I guess the giveaway was it wasn't the main event because that's kind of a main event moment.
I agree. And I think we're finally hit the point where we can't wait for crowds anymore. Like Bayley and Sasha Banks winning the Women's Tag Team Championship again. Like you can't keep waiting for the crowd. And I know obviously we'll get to the main event of this and who won the title at the end. It's like,
to me, that was enough of a crowd tonight.
No, I agree. But you know what I mean? I mean, the actual live, I shouldn't say that, but like the people that don't know what the heck's going on and just there as fans, not paid people that are part of the brand. But I really like the match. I really like what they did. I love the cheers. Kyle O'Reilly, I'm a little interested in what that may have been with Kyle O'Reilly. Like, where was he? I don't know if he's hurt again as one of those guys, but I love the Dexter Lumis tie-in, because now you're one thing they did really well in this match was it was cool looking. I thought it was badass. I thought those guys really did a lot. I like the stoppage to make his arm bleed. Like, obviously that didn't really happen. Then whatever, it's fake. I don't really care how they did it. Looked good. And then I thought the Dexter Lumis tie-in, because it just adds more elements to make you as a viewer go, okay, now I want to see where this is going. Like, where are we going from here? But yeah, it is tough because Adam Cole still being your champion, and now we have to get to the point where it's like, I don't mind if he rolls for another year, but we need to get some competitors that make you believe he's going to lose. And I actually, maybe I'm crazy, but when this was in the middle of the card, I'm like, Velveteen Dream's not beating him. And where there's a caveat where he can't fight him for the title just when it's Adam Cole's. I'm like, I think there's room there for them they got some loopholes.
I mean, once they called up the red flag of it being in the middle of the card, I was like, probably not a title switch here.
Yeah.
And then the stipulation was a weird one when you think about it. So I don't know. I think it was a wasted match not to have Dream win and not to be the main event. But the main event tonight was deserving, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like both, we'll get to him in the next one. Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream have been hurt by the long kind of layoffs they've had, like in the recent, future, like the recent past. And I don't know, how long has the Dream been down there? It feels like he's been down there 2 years, 3 years.
Well, this is the thing we were talking about is we go back, rewind your calendar, just one calendar year. These are the hottest guys in wrestling. Velveteen Dream, Matt Riddle, who I think actually kept, but like Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, like Adam Cole. These are guys you're like, I can't wait to see their matches. Now it's like, oh, cool, yeah, that's that in your house event. I should watch that. Like, if this wasn't called in your house, I think this would have a severe different feeling and impact, because I don't know, I'm not saying that you wouldn't watch or other people wouldn't watch, but I think that helped a big part of it. Like, if it was just NXT TakeOver or Florida, it would be like, oh, okay. Like, you watch, you'd be like, cool, but it wouldn't have that same feel. I think that
if these
really
matches were last August or September, almost a year ago, you'd be like, holy shit, all of these matches are incredible.
Oh, yeah. You got to agree.
Now it's like, all right, I'm surprised this hasn't happened on this level yet.
It's a good point. I do. And I have to admit, like, I try to keep it positive. I try. Like, I'll give you my opinion and not just be fake about it. But Mauro Ranallo was pretty brutal during this match. There was a very obvious spot.
He was off tonight. He was very off.
I
think he's the best announcer in the world. Hyperbilly. I really do.
Ooh,
I think he is the most exciting. And I've done brag a little bit of play-by-play in color recently, and it's a lot harder than you'd think. But I really think he brings everything you want from a broadcast perspective, but he was just off tonight. And I know he has a lot of everybody has a bad day. So maybe it was just a bad day.
I think
he was still good, but there was a few moments where I was like, what is he talking about? He never stumbles, and he stumbled. No, I've never heard him stumble ever.
Tonight, it was this match specifically because obviously it was pre-taped, so they're just like watching it live, commentating, and he goes, Adam Cole with the Panama Sunrise, and it was clearly countered by Velveteen Dream with the Death Valley Driver, and Todd Phillips quickly interrupted, he didn't even say, oh no, it was a reversal, he just left it out there like he did it. Then Todd Phillips had to cover him, and then eventually he kicks out, and then he goes for another move, and he was all it was like he was out of whack, out of sorts. And with all due respect to Mauro Ranallo, obviously I've never been in those shoes, especially with people in your ear. That must be so annoying. But this was just it was a miss. But overall, I thought the match itself was good. It was fun to watch. I'd watch it again just because there was some brutality in there too. Like, those guys did some stuff. I'm like, why would you do this? Like, you didn't have to do this. Like, you didn't have to take it to that next level. But I think, as you said, Velveteen Dream maybe needs a little more of that, taking himself to that next level. So overall, I give it I would give that more of a positive grade than not. Then we get into probably the oddest match on this card. Karrion Kross taking on Tommaso Ciampa with Scarlett. The entrance is awesome. They I don't know if you saw the very first entrance, but they really made it all about Scarlett in the beginning. Now he's the one who kind of turns and introduces him. Like, the spotlight comes on his face, then she does the singing and stuff. The lip singing. I love the presentation of him. He has the look of Stone Cold ringmaster. He's just a little bit off from looking like a superstar. He looks like a star. He looks like a wrestler. That helps. But he's just off. It's almost like what Tommaso Ciampa looked like 3 years ago. When he was a guy, and then he bulked himself up. The beard is now like his staple. He looks like a star now. So I don't know what's going to happen with Karrion Kross, but I thought this match.
I mean, they're giving him a fucking huge push to beat that guy.
Oh yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I think my issue is I thought they were going to go, if you're going to squash somebody, just squash them. Give it like 3 minutes. Like the fact that this was
like 6 minutes, I think.
I know, but I feel like Brock Lesnar's seen, I know different superstars, different situation. Like
6 minutes and 13 seconds for beating Tommaso Ciampa, who you could argue over the last like 3 years of NXT was your biggest star.
Oh yeah, I think it's hard to disagree. He might be the biggest like face name on the brand right now. But I don't know. I just thought it could have been a little shorter and make him look even more dominant. But at the end of the day, he choked him out, and because good guys don't tap, and that's one thing. I know this is really nitpicking. I want that to go away. I think faces, it's time to start tapping out. It's okay to submit. Like every time a face, it's always the pass out.
I mean, Rhea Ripley tapped out at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was good. I like that because guess what? When you're in extreme pain, you're not too strong to not tap. Like if someone has
to me, it's a character builder, and I like it. I just don't like the fact that we're at this point with Tommaso Ciampa where he's kind of like not the biggest heel in the world, and that's what he is. I
know that it is true. His being a face it's taking me a long time to get.
And Johnny Gargano being
a heel, it's really weird. To me, it's still very bizarre.
I mean, you could do it, but I don't think you do it at their. I mean, it's not their infancy because they've been around so long, but that's the problem with these guys being in. And they don't say it's a developmental brand, but it is the developmental brand. I don't care what you say because they're fighting the younger talent continually. Like that's what they are. They're all the younger guys. It is AAA for the most part. You have Charlotte, you have Finn Balor down there, but for the rest of the people, it's the younger talent, and they're kind of making Kross now off the back of probably what would be one of the top stars on the main level.
I guess the one thing I would say is maybe they're not the youngest guys, but they're the newest guys to WWE.
They're the greenest to WWE, which is kind of the point. Like, that it is the developmental brand because you're developing these talents for your real TV, which is not NXT right now. It's not. But that's the thing that hurts. Like, how do you feel about Tommaso Ciampa kind of jobbing to this dude?
I'm good with it. I'm all good with it personally. I like because you need to make. The one thing that I thought NXT's always done is evolve their stories or is like shifted people in position. Like they never do a stacked list, but I feel like that's almost what they do in what they like. I'll kind of give you that once we're done here, like to end this, like where I think everyone kind of stacks up now. Obviously this feud's going to continue. This is something they're probably going to try to drag for a while, maybe till, we're still not out of the question of SummerSlam being live in Boston, which is kind of insane to think right now. We're just under 2 months away from that.
Phase 2 could start in
tomorrow.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Is it officially?
Well, phase 2 starts tomorrow, but we're nowhere near there. Phase 3 starts in like 2 weeks, but they just still have not pulled SummerSlam. Like WWE and Boston have not said they won't be there. I have heard, but very much through the rumor mills and people I used to work with at the Garden, that if they are going to do this, it would just be at a very smaller capacity.
Yeah.
So, or like, I don't know, whatever. But besides the point, like I just see the point of bringing this up is that like they could hold matches like a Karrion Kross versus Tommaso Ciampa, like the next big one at a TakeOver Boston, like if they can pull that off.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that, I guess. I just feel like Tommaso Ciampa came so far as the smaller kind of indie guy, hometown guy, kind of close connections to some of our friends if you dig deep. But it's just one of those things where I feel like him getting a 6-minute match against Kross is kind of like, I think he deserved a little better. Either squash him like you said in 2 minutes,
that's
or give Kross a chance to show he can actually really wrestle a long, good match. Because this is how a pay-per-view should be. What, there was 6 matches?
Yep. You
could give these guys 20 minutes.
Yeah, if you average out, you could do 20 minutes per match, which I'm still okay with the overall result. I'm okay with it. Like I said, if I looked at it and said 6 minutes 13, or if it was 3 minutes 13, I'm cool with it. Like Tommaso Ciampa got a little offense in, got the Willow, whatever, the little DDT that he has there. But other than that, it was really just Kross. And I loved Kross like inverted F5, like where he tossed him for the other way. I thought that was cool. I don't know. I'm into him. Obviously with him and Scarlett, that's such a package deal. I think I don't know. There's so much to that, I guess, package to go with. Like she's very Sable-esque. Like she's distracting almost, but he has such a presence that she didn't overpower, and they're not like showing her too much. Like
I don't love him. There's something about him I just don't love.
Because he's not there yet. I'm telling you, this reminds me. If my prediction will be a year from now, you'll feel different because he'll find whatever that next groove will be.
I think he's more Mark Merrow than Ringmaster.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
No.
Johnny B. Bad, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit.
So then we went into the main event. It was the NXT Women's Championship with Charlotte Flair defending against Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. Bill, I know you probably out of anybody I know is the biggest Io Shirai fan.
I love her. I love her.
And
Rhea Ripley. I'm a huge. I mean, they're both about the same in my heart. I love those two girls.
So
beauty wise, wrestling wise, in ring wise, everything about them. I think this was it was a deserving match, and I thought, like, sometimes you say, oh, this match deserved to be the main event, and then it doesn't deliver. I thought this match delivered. You thought it was a little short. I thought it was pretty good.
I guess I'll have to watch it back for me.
It was almost 18 minutes.
I know, but I know it's weird, and I actually think 18 minutes might be the perfect time frame for a wrestling match. I was talking to my wife about this. I said the matches that go like 28 minutes, like to 34, are too long. Usually you can cut a little bit. And it's a triple threat, so you have a lot more action packed. Like, I think singles matches, 18, 20 minutes, probably could be like the real, like, as good as it gets. And obviously, you can make them longer, just not.
To me, you need to have like a Hitman in his prime, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, like a Kenny Omega. Even I would say Cody Rhodes at this point, I think could probably put on a 28-minute match. There's a lot of guys who can do it, but I don't want it done unless you're that level. I mean, Daniel Bryan can obviously do it.
Yep.
I'd watch a 28-minute match with him and Drew Gulak, but like a triple threat, I think can't be that long because there's so much ebb and flow to it, and it kind of builds to that like pacing of, all right, now it's over. Yep. And I think that kind of had this. There's a couple things I would have liked to change about the finish, but I still thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I've never been a big triple threat fan. I always like, especially if you're going to get your baby face to go over, like get him over against the heel, get him over against the woman, the person.
No, I agree.
I thought going into this, I just thought the whole time Charlotte Flair was going to retain. I thought we were going to see more. So I was shocked by the end with Io Shirai, by the way. So Charlotte Flair puts on the figure 8 on Rhea Ripley. I thought Rhea Ripley was going to get out of it somehow. Io Shirai does her moonsault and pins Rhea Ripley kind of out of nowhere. And I guess I have to, critique it from two levels. One, I like it because it was a surprise ending. I didn't see the victory coming, and I didn't see it ending there. I thought, she hit the moonsault. They do the classic thing where they all roll over, and then we get to our crescendo at the end. Also loved Io Shirai using the staging, jumping off the roof.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Oh, so nice. But again, we don't give enough credit to wrestlers, how dangerous that stuff is. We just
that was beautiful. Like, she is the princess of the sky, but
sure is.
The way she hit that was perfect. Like, she just nailed it. They
Body
caught
control.
her perfectly. The only problem I have with Charlotte Flair being down there is Charlotte Flair didn't lose to Asuka on the undefeated streak at WrestleMania. She didn't lose to Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania when she could have really made these talents. So there's no way she's losing clean in NXT. So it wasn't a bad way to get it off her because Vince is never going to let her just... I agree with you. If Io Shirai beats her straight up, how big does that make Io Shirai? Huge. I mean, that's arguably the biggest victory you can get in professional wrestling. We ranked her the number one wrestler of the 2010s.
Yeah.
And she's very deserving. She's an absolute star. She's a stud. She's, she gets the best matches out of every single person. So the problem is having her down there, she wasn't going to be able to fully put anybody over because you weren't going to be able to let her lose clean. She didn't lose clean in the biggest moments on the main card. She's not going to lose clean down there. She always dropped the belt to Sasha at a Raw. She never dropped it on a pay-per-view. She doesn't lose at pay-per-views. Yeah. Point taken there. There's not much I can say. I'm sure there's one or two people. Well, she lost to Bayley. Bayley, she lost technically. That was a Raw too. Oh no, that was Fastlane. I don't remember. But it didn't matter because everything's so muffled. It's too much wrestling. But I will say that you're right on so many levels about what you're saying about this. But I think this is where, going back to my take on the women's division, where I think Charlotte Flair, this whole thing was kind of I don't want to say failure because that's so stupid. Like, who the hell am I to say failure about something because I didn't know their original plan. But I think with crowds, their whole idea was get Charlotte down there, boost all these women. Like, she should have been She should have been wrestling every Wednesday night against a different one. Mia Yim, the Shotzi Blackheart, the Tegan Knox. That would have been like a John Cena US Open challenge type thing where she could come out, the crowd would go nuts, and she would build stars off of each match.
Correct.
Without a crowd, it's tough. I mean, even though
they still should have done it.
WWE employees probably in the crowd, I still think it makes it much better. It really
does. I 100% agree. I just think this is why I had the critiques I had in the podcast, the critiques I have today, and the critiques I'm going to now. If Charlotte Flair, like, where does she go from here? That's my other issue. She's been fighting with Bayley on SmackDown. She was fighting for the Raw number one contention for the Raw Women's title for Asuka on Raw. She's technically a Raw superstar, but like, I mean, she's just going back to Raw. Like, is she going to stay with NXT? Personally, for me, screw it. I like her go. There could be certain exceptions, and I know that the brand split's already a joke. Anyways, there's a new rule. I forget what it's called, where they can cross over like 5 times a year. But the point is,
wild card, bitches.
It's something else. They luckily didn't call it that. Something that's stupid. It's called like the gateway. But Charlotte to me is good enough to be on all 3 brands. Like she could be grandfathered in if they wanted to. So I don't know. I'm worried about that. I would love to now see Io Shirai versus Charlotte. Like I want to see that. And I think the feud we're going to get out of this is obviously Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, and I think it's going to be really good.
Honestly, I would be okay with the Charlotte Flair Triple Crown in 1 week.
Win them all?
I mean, she is that level. And I mean, Chris Jericho has the beating The Rock and Austin in one night. You can have Charlotte Flair be the lady who did SmackDown, Raw, and NXT in one night. Even though now I think we're at the point where...
I thought you meant win the titles. I thought you were about to say...
I do. I mean, win all 3 titles in 1 week.
Jesus Christ.
She's that kind of performer. I'm fine with it.
The internet would explode. She's already has like 14 world championships. And
I don't
she's only been
care.
wrestling for like 5 years.
I'll give her the credit.
And WWE.
Good. That's fine with me.
I agree with you. It's funny. I like when her being Rhea Ripley.
And then just unify 2 of them. I mean, or just win SmackDown and Raw.
No, you're right.
We're too title heavy at this point. I mean, I've said this, I don't know how long, and since then they've probably added belt wise at least 5 with 2 women's championships, the best belt in the world in the
North American
Championship. And I think they probably added another 1 or 2 somewhere.
Well, the 24/7 championship.
The 24 is that still going on? I know Gronk lost it.
Yeah, Gronk just lost it, so R-Truth has it again.
It's just too much of that shit
Think
going on.
Think about it this way: there's 5 hours of WWE main roster programming, and there's
more.
Well, I'm talking Raw and SmackDown. And there's, I think, 9 belts on those shows. Like, come on.
Just make the 24/7 title. I mean, we're getting way off topic now, but make that the TV title and have it be defended every time, like WCW. That to me, I thought was going to be the announcement when Mick Foley came out now.
Yeah.
Over a year ago?
Oh, it was like almost 2 now.
No way.
Oh, no. It was like a year and a half, I think.
Yeah.
The 24/7 championship announcement.
But either way, back to the main event here. Io Shirai, absolute stud. I love her. She's deserving of it. And I think now was the time to crown her. I think they've waited a little too long on a lot of these NXT people. Like Velveteen Dream, in my eyes, should have been the champion, 9 months ago, maybe longer. Because he was at that level. Same thing with the bro, Matt Riddle. Like, you got to cash in on those guys, especially at this level when they're hot. Because once they get to that point, it's fine to go back. Like, I just don't like them never getting there. Like, the fact that Velveteen Dream might not have the NXT championship, that's a little odd.
It is, especially where, like, at least Matt Riddle, you saw they announced him going up, they've done stuff with him. It is going to be hard because, like, Velveteen Dream, like, right now, like, when I look at this, and I might as well get into it, like, when I look at the stacks, like, to me, it looks like Finn Balor is my guess is where they're going to go next for Adam Cole for the championship. Keith Lee, they probably can continue with Johnny Gargano because nobody else really got a mid card, but like there's so much you can do in the mid card with that. You could bring in, a Roderick Strong. This Dexter Loomis guy, maybe he can have an impact with that title. So many room, or you could. I don't know if Karrion Kross, I feel like he's better without being in a title picture for a while, but you have him, Damian Priest, you obviously can rebound and be in that picture. I was just looking at it from like a main event standpoint. It's Finn Balor to me, and like, you're not putting Karrion Kross against the Undisputed Era. I don't see them going there.
Well, that's the problem with a AAA type roster, that all of them are kind of in the same picture. I mean, Johnny Gargano was the NXT champion at one point, and then he was going for his second. Why do I keep hearing the name of this title?
North American
Championship tonight. So they're all kind of ping-ponging back. There's no differentiation of like level there. They're kind of all on the same level, which isn't good for your thing. You need that kind of, Bret Hart fought for the Intercontinental Championship for quite some time before he made it to the level world champion, Razor Ramon. That to me is the way you book these things. And I feel like that happened at the main event level with I always bring this up. Dolph Ziggler touched the sky a little too early. His cash-in was great. It was awesome. But he needed to be built to that level for a longer period of time. And I feel like that's what they don't do in NXT. They don't level these guys up at the proper rate.
I would actually argue that's the way they do across the board. And I think that's a big issue with WWE in general. Guys last too long now. Like what you're talking about, Bret Hart, like obviously he was there for a long time. He's there for almost 10 plus years in WWE itself. But like you are right. Like once he reached the certain level, he dipped a little bit after he lost the title to Bob Backlund for like a year and a half. But then he was in the main picture until he left in 97. Guys like just using that Dolph Ziggler thing, like he built his way up there. Like he had some excellent matches against Edge for the title.
It was quick though.
It was, but not really, because he was there from like 2008 to 2010 as Ziggler, and then 2011, because then he cashed in what year? I think that was 2000.
I thought it was 11.
It was after WrestleMania 29, so that would have been
no way, really
13. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like it feels quick, but then the point is like that was also 7, 8, 9 years ago we're talking about, and this guy's still there, and he's like that's I think the hard part because these guys don't get those breaks. And I think the one thing about quarantine, like just using Roman Reigns, like there's been no Roman Reigns for months. When he comes back, I'm itching for him at this point. I'm looking for that big dog. I'm looking for that next like that's a Braun Strowman right now. With like, you brought him up a couple times. I hate him. I can't do it. Like I'm watching him on SmackDown, and I just feel it feels unnatural. He should be a bad guy. He should be a dominant, horribly scary heel like he was when he first came out, flipping over things. It's fun with him with Miz and Morrison, but it's not like I don't know. It's too much of the entertainment side, not enough of the sports side of it. And I think just to come back around where we're going here is that guys last a little too long without breaks. Like Johnny Gargano was hurt for just a little while earlier this year. He missed one NXT TakeOver event, and then he was right back to the point where he, you're like, okay, he's in a big feud with Tommaso Ciampa. Like, cool. But then you put him, like you said, in a North American Championship match. Like, does he have to be in that? Can't we just like blood feuds? Guys like him could be in blood feuds more than maybe putting him in title pictures. Because, you start getting that confusion of what's the top of the card, what's the middle of the card, what's the bottom of the card.
So, Lefty here, Frank, just told us that he cashed in 13. It must have been the friggin' very beginning of 13.
No, it was the night after WrestleMania. It was after WrestleMania 29.
So, April.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bill, it's been 7+ years ago.
Oh, believe me, I know about 7+ years right about now.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Better than anybody.
13 was a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it was. That feels such like a short time ago. It really does.
Well, because
I feel like it was way longer ago. Like, when was the first NXT TakeOver? Was that 15?
No, well, yeah, when they launched the network in 2014.
Okay, so but I can't believe Ziggler was that close. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, it was the year before. Yeah, because before it was called TakeOver, it was just like NXT Arrival, NXT Our Revolution. Then the TakeOvers, I think, actually technically started in 15. But yeah, it's this. I think well, let's go this way. What would you rate out of 11 this event? NXT TakeOver in your house.
6.9.
Nice. I would say
I didn't mean to do that.
the pros, by the way, that's just a 7.0. Pros
6.9.
Pros for me: Finn Bálor, Damian Priest, Keith Lee, Gargano, Cole, Velveteen Dream. The main event, there's way more pros than cons, so I'm going to give this one probably, I'm probably right around. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 11. Very fun to watch.
This NXT TakeOver didn't do that most of them do. All the matches were pretty good. It didn't have that match where I'm like, I'm going to point to this match for, hey, a wrestling fan or a person who wants to be turned on to wrestling, go watch this match from this NXT TakeOver. And I think there's almost a match at every other NXT TakeOver. I'm like, hey, if you want to get into wrestling, this is the match for you. And there was really no match on this card where I'm like, hey, that would probably be the main event. Like, if you like women's wrestling, this is a good match for you. Other than that, it's like nothing was just like an out-and-out masterpiece. Even Keith Lee and Gargano was good, but it wasn't like great. Because I do think Keith Lee has a lot of lulls in his matches where he's like helping people. Like, he's just not the crispest wrestler ever to make a perfect match. Even his Dominic Divakovic, whatever the hell.
Exactly. Good luck with that name.
Dominic Divakovic.
Dijakovic.
Oh, God. We had an amazing broadcast today on one of our Madden things where somebody couldn't, like, one of our lovely announcers didn't know how to say posthumously. He kept saying posthumously.
Just don't say it, buddy. I do. If you don't know how to say it, just don't say it.
It's a lot of good ones. And colloquialism, that was a fun one.
What is that coming up in a Madden broadcast?
Because I forget what it was. But I was literally in this exact spot. This is where I do it from. I was laughing so hard I could not breathe because there was one word he couldn't read, and then we just kept feeding him other ones where it was like, oh my God, it was so bad. It was unbelievable. It was great. But yeah, so 6.9, nice.
Yeah, I'll give it 7.5. Obviously we don't have to rank them all, but yeah, I would put this probably somewhere in the mid to lowers of all your NXT takeovers.
Oh, lower.
Think, like you said, they usually have those standout matches. I love the creativity of the backyard brawl, the backlot brawl. I loved, most of the matches. I love the set. I love the look of this event. But yeah, like I'm just even thinking earlier this year we had NXT TakeOver Phoenix. That was good. Doesn't stand out again, so it might be. I think this year it's kind of on par, like those two. But again, we can rank those another time. But I just thought overall this was a fun event. Again, a pretty quick event. When the main event happened and it lasted only a little over 17 and a half minutes, I was kind of shocked. And I think that all ended before it was like 9:20.
Last thing I'll say, and man, can we not do a short podcast? But I thought this was going to be like 20 minutes.
It could be. It could have been, but.
So like the thing we were saying is there was no new shiny toy really here at this event, where every NXT it's like the third or fourth one for Gargano or Velveteen Dream or Matt Riddle or Roderick Strong hasn't faced this guy in a long time. Every one of these matches is kind of like meh. Like Gargano, Keith Lee kind of had that appeal off the bat, but then I was just like, it was an okay match. So that was my thing. It wasn't like a new shiny toy, and that's kind of what NXT is with a lot of these guys. There was nothing like stand out about it.
Yeah, like a good way. Like when I was working with Keith of the Dork Podcast as like his coworker, it was funny. He used to always be like, "Oh, give me a couple matches to watch this week," and I would always like ramble off a couple NXT, or I used to give him condensed versions of pay-per-views. Like, just watch these 3 matches. It'll be like an hour and 20 minutes, and you'll enjoy. And this one, like I would probably say the backlot brawl. I would say the main event, and if I really had to just do 3 out of 6,
Keith Lee.
Yeah, Keith Lee Gargano, because I just enjoyed that one as well. I would have to say you have to watch the Karrion Kross intro, though. Like, you have to watch and for Scarlett yourself. The last thing I was going to say about it, I was really interested to see if they would do the thing. They usually debut guys in the crowd. Like, my God, can you believe he's here? Like, I was waiting for that. I was waiting to be like, who? Like, just somebody standing there, like, amongst the novices, like, oh, my God, blank is debuting. Obviously, didn't go there. Smart move. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the other thing. Like, where's NXT now with AEW and all these guys? Like, there's no signings going to happen. WWE just released like 30 people over the last few months. Even Nigel McGuinness, quietly, who used to be a commentator on NXT, where's he been? I think he was furloughed at the moment because he's stuck in the UK. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how they reshuffle this to go into what some of your thoughts and complaints were about like Gargano and these guys kind of being there too long. It's like, well, who's next?
Goldberg.
There's a whole nother company. Yeah. Might be at this point. Goldberg, what a joke. All right. We'll be back. So Tuesday, we haven't officially figured out exactly what our stream will be. Might be doing band tier rank. We'll figure it out over the next 24 hours, but we'll be back Tuesday night, 8 p.m. for a kick-ass stream. Thoughts again, Billy giving it a 6.9. I gave it a 7.5. You can follow Billy at BillyD2411, me at Jason D Rossi. Don't forget to follow along to Pop Culture Pile Driver at Pop Culture PD. We can be found doing all sorts of shenanigans over there. Plenty of content coming at you. You can subscribe to us on the YouTubes at Pop Culture Pile Driver. Just search it and wherever your podcast is found. Anything else, Bill?
Holla, holla, holla. That's about it. I gotta pee.
Frank says hi.